the best dressed promoter in combat sports and perhaps combat sports history. As I said, he is the face of Queensberry Promotions. He's the one and only Frank Warren, who had a fantastic week last week. Can't wait to talk to him about it all. There he is, Frank Warren, kind enough to join us. Hello, Frank. How are you?
I'm fine, Ariel. What about you, my friend? And by the way, I'm not overdressed tonight.
I know you're so casual here. I'm usually, used to seeing you in the three-piece or in a nice little double-breasted. This is casual, Frank. I like it.
Well, I thought it'd be a laid-back, nice conversation with you, so I thought I'd get in the mood.
I appreciate that, and what a setup you have back here! Beautiful artwork. I love it. It's wonderful to see. Congratulations on a massive week for you and the company. Dare I say, I'd be remiss if I had a bottle of Prosecco here, I would open it up and cheers to you because of the big week, or maybe a warm lager, whatever you prefer. But nevertheless, congratulations on the big week. Had to be one of the biggest weeks of your career, no?
It is, without a doubt, no doubt about that. I mean, as I'm getting older, it seems to be getting better. So I just hope it continues that way.
So could we start with December 23rd and that announcement on Wednesday? How quickly did that card and your involvement in that card come together? From our perspective, it seemed like it was just a matter of days. Could you tell us how quickly it came together for you?
It happened probably over the course of, the date was fixed because obviously we were going to look into do Tyson and the big fight, Tyson and Usyk. But Tyson, as you know, had a tough fight against Ngannou. So we then had to put another card together. So everybody concerned worked very hard to make it happen. That was my son, George, Spencer Brown, us, and obviously the Kingdom's team led by His Excellency Turkey. And we came up with this card, which is, it's something extra special. And I think if we'd have had a bit more time, if it had happened earlier, we'd have actually got the Joshua and Wilder fight on.
Wow.
Rather than, with the other two guys. For training for such a big fight at this moment in their careers, 6 weeks wasn't enough, and you can understand that. But they both got tough fights. I think they've got tough fights for various reasons. Deontay's been out the ring now, for 14 months, so he's in with Joseph Parker. Joe's a good competitor. He's only been stopped once, and he's coming off a good win. He had a good win on the last card at the opening of the Riyadh Festival, and AJ's in with Otto Wallin, who only has one loss, which was against Tyson quite a few years ago, and he had a good win. He beat Gassiev a few weeks ago. So I think they're decent fights for both of them. Hopefully, hopefully, the winner, if they both come through, then they'll face each other early next year.
What's remarkable about this, among the many things that is remarkable, is the fact that you have 12 promoters coming together in one shape or way or form. Did you have any reservations about working with any of these other promoters on this bill?
No, we've always worked with, over the years, I've worked with lots of promoters. I mean, Saturday we had a show here in the UK. It's a cracking show, by the way. Really good domestic fights. We had eight title fights on the card, and there were various promoters who we worked in association for each of those fights. And it's the same with this one. We're working with Salida, with Matchroom, AJ Boxing. We're working with Bomb Squad. I mean, lots of different guys. And there's some other good fights on there. You got Dimitri Bivens on there. He's fighting British guy Lyndon Arthur, who's the IBO champion. That should be a decent fight. Daniel Dubois is in with Gerald Miller, and that's a cracking fight. It's an interesting fight. He came so close to causing what I think a lot of people would have felt was an upset against Usyk, Daniel, with that so-called low blow, which I never thought was a low blow, but he took a lot of time out, and we obviously exposed a weakness there in Usyk's armour. And Gerald Miller, we all know that he's had a few problems over the years, but he's a competitor. And I think for Daniel, this is a bit of a crossroads fight for him. He can't afford to lose if he wants to still have a seat at the big table. And then we've got Makhmudov, based in Canada. He's fighting Edgy Caballero. He's undefeated. They're both undefeated fighters. Hrgovic is on there, who's the mandatory for the IBF. He's fighting Australian Mark Demori, and Frank Sanchez from the States is fighting Junior Farr from New Zealand. So it's a good, heavy weight card with a couple of cruiserweights who may go on to become and light heavyweights who may move up in the weights. But it's a really good quality card, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I love to consume all the boxing media content, especially out of the UK. And so I know you've been asked this question, but I have to ask and maybe dig a little further. We all know about the, for lack of a better word, rivalry between Queensberry and Matchroom. You said, "Oh, I saw Eddie in the back room. We said hello and we got on with it." There had to have been more than that, Frank. Give us the goods
Yeah,
here. Was it just really a hello, how are you? Let's move on. It couldn't have been just that.
if it lasted 30 seconds, maybe a minute, that was it.
Wow.
It was not, I know his father well because his father and I, over the years, had worked together. We actually was involved in the snooker business for a while together in the early days when the Breakaway organisation was formed, and I helped with that. No, it was that my son George, who's the CEO of Queensberry, who, believe you me, does most of the graft. I'm like the old guy they wheel him in every now and but he does most of the work, and he's pretty much he doesn't sort of push himself up front. He stays in the background. But I know he's been talking with Eddie a lot over the years in various fights, but certainly recently. And he was in the room, and we just that was it. Hello, how are you? It's a great opportunity here for everybody. Let's not screw it up. Except, probably in a cruder way, we said that, and let's make sure it works. And that's what happened, and we went out. I said to my son at one stage, maybe we should lock the door and push him in the broom cupboard and not let him out. But common sense prevailed.
It's lovely. I love the banter between you guys. Are we approaching a time, much like the Hearns, where Eddie became the face and Barry, went into the shadows, where your son George is going to be the face and do these interviews and be at the forefront, and you're going to be more in the shadows? Is that in the near future?
Well, at the moment, he's doing most. I've got to be honest. He does most of the business. He's not running that side of it. I would like that to happen. I mean, I love it. I mean, I love boxing. I've always been a boxing nut. As a kid, I was always into the sport, and it's great to be part of it. Like again, last week I thought I was 21 again with all what was going on. Brilliant. But I'd like to see him do it. But he's not really that interested in that side of the business. I think he really does enjoy the business side of it. Whereas I get a bit peed off with the business side. I just want to get to the fights and watch the fights. But we're a good. He's a good team. He will eventually take over as I think take over the whole role of Queensberry. My other sons are involved as well. Francis is a very good manager. He's building a real good group of fighters. He looks after, I think, the hottest young heavyweight in the world, Moses Atumia, at the moment. And they're all completely boxing nuts. I never thought that was the case, because when they were younger and they were growing up, they had good educations. They all went to university, but as they were growing up, you forget as a dad that on the Saturday nights you're not there with the kids. You're not working sort of, Monday to Friday, and then you're with the family. The weekends, invariably, you have a card on. You're traveling back from the show, wherever it is, what part of the world or country you're in, and I didn't realise they were all watching it so much and so much into it that they got totally seduced by it. So they all went to the uni, got a good education, and then wound up in boxing, which is not what I wanted for them. I didn't want that, but they're all enjoying it, and they're doing in their respective roles, doing a fantastic job between them all.
Obviously, I know what happened on October 28th, and I want to ask you specifically about that fight in a moment. But could you tell us why Tyson isn't fighting on December 23rd? Is it because of the bumps and bruises sustained on October 28th, or is there another reason why?
No, it's probably down to me, to be quite honest. When the fight was made against Ngannou, everybody sort of, and I find it difficult sometimes with people, especially some of the media and the critics, that they immediately say, "Oh, this is a knockover. This is nothing," and there's no boxing footage. There was no video footage to look of Ngannou in a ring. All you could look at him was in an MMA match in UFC, as it was. And when I looked at that, I could see he was a tough guy. He's a big competitor. is strong. So I knew that if it was coming into clinches or whatever, Tyson, as he's fought in his last 4 fights where he stood toe to toe with people, and slugged it out in some cases, like he did with Wilder, with Deontay. He didn't do what he used to do in the past, which was to get up on his toes and box, use his jab. He actually stood there and traded with him. And I thought that if they do that, I don't want him getting into clinches with Ngannou, because I felt that he'd be used to that. That's the type of thing that they do in MMA, in the UFC. And as I say, I knew he could punch, but when that first bell went and he came out, as he came out and I watched as he shaped up, I thought to myself, oh, this is not what I'm expecting. This is not such as normally MMA guys. They're a bit more square on. He had the stance of a boxer, and he could jab, and he was switch hitting. And after a couple of rounds, I thought, this is not going to. I mean, obviously, I believe Tyson was win, but I thought this is not going to be the job that everybody's saying it's going to be. And then when he clipped him in the third round and Tyson went over, and we know that Tyson's got a good chin. We know he gets up and he has a good recovery rate from getting knocked down. But obviously, none of us like that, especially Tyson. But it was this showed this fella is going to, he's not just showing up to make up the numbers. He's going to be there he was there to win and cause an upset in everybody's eyes. And as the fight went on, I thought Tyson settled down. And, I thought he won the fight. Punch stats proved that. And, for me, he won it by, 2-3 rounds. Having said that, I'm not taking anything away from Ngannou, because Ngannou absolutely came out of that fight as what he should have done, as a hero. He done brilliantly well, and he put himself into the big picture as far as, big fights in the future. But Tyson needed a break after that fight. He'd been training off and on all year for fights that we thought were going to be made, and they weren't made, especially with Usyk. And he did train hard for the fight. He had a hard camp for it. And, when you're involved in a big fight and you're having back-to-back camps without any time out, that's not good for you. You're not letting your battery recharge. If he'd have beaten Ngannou, as everybody was so-called predicting would happen, which I didn't think would happen, but they were saying, it could be over in 1 or 2 rounds in a very easy fight, then I think it could have been a goer. But, come the sort of 6th, 7th round, that date was, going to be put back till next year, because, it's an important fight for Tyson. And for Tyson, he's now training for a guy that he knows, he's seen in the ring in Usyk. He knows what his strengths and his weaknesses are. Whereas, as I say, with Ngannou, he didn't. So it was the sensible thing to do, and that's what's happened. And as a result of that, we've sort of had what we call double bubble. We've now got this great show on the 23rd in the Riyadh season, and Tyson will be fighting as announced on the 17th of February next year against Usyk, also in the Riyadh season. So it's brilliant.
Was there any talk of running it back right away instead of doing Fury Usyk, going straight to Fury and Ngannou 2, because it was such a shocker and such a thrilling fight?
No. As you may recollect, and it wasn't tempting fate or being sort of ridiculously confident. The fight had been announced.
Right.
If you remember, it was. And the only reason we confirmed that is because once we knew we put those contracts into the IBF, they would have informed Hrgovic's people that the fight was going to happen, the unification, and then it would have got out there. So we took the bull by the horns and announced it before anybody else leaked it out.
Okay. If all goes well on the 17th of February between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, if your guy wins, is there a chance that we see Fury and Ngannou in 2024?
I think there's a good chance of that happening. I do.
Really? Would it be next?
That I don't know. I mean, it's like jumping too far forward. Let's get the big one out of the way first, and then we'll see where we go. But I do think Tyson told me that he wants the rematch, and I know Ngannou wants it. I mean, because when we was after the fight, we were out there. We met at His Excellency's house, and we had quite a lengthy conversation. He's a nice guy, by the way. He's a really nice guy. Good team around him, and I'm quite sure we'll do it again.
There was a lot of talk, especially in the MMA world, about how that fight did, the Fury and Ngannou fight did on pay-per-view worldwide. Is there anything you could tell us about those numbers? How did it do, and whether it met your expectations?
I think it met the expectations of the attention that it drew. To start off with, let's be honest, it didn't get great press because they're saying it was a mismatch. Turned out to be a very exciting and dramatic fight. Too dramatic for me at one stage, but that's how it turned out. But it ticked all the boxes as far as what it done. And what I said at the time, this is going to be a game changer because it was the key to the door. It was to get that fight over with, and get it off the ground, working closely with Seller and the Kingdom, and the National Event Centre and the National Event Centre and the GEA, the General Entertainment Authority, Gold Star, everybody involved with it. It was such a great experience. It's led to all these other shows being announced. But 2 shows already that are out there that are planned, and there are more planned. So it was absolutely, I think, essential for us, Queensberry, to be involved in this, because this is a new dawning in boxing. They've proven beyond a doubt that Saudi Arabia is going to be a big destination for the big fights. They've enabled fights to happen and cards to happen that would not normally we would be able to put on, because they just want to be financially viable to do that. But they've made that happen. So if you're a boxing fan, you're in seventh heaven as far as that's concerned. And I think you'll see a lot of the big, meaningful fights will be made much easier over the next few years. I don't think every big fight in the world is going to take place in Riyadh, but a lot of them will. Some of them will obviously take place in the UK, certainly during the season, which normally runs from the October until Ramadan. Ramadan next year, I think it's on the 3rd of March, I think it is. So during that season, you'll see some exciting fights, no doubt about that. And it'll lead to a lot of these guys all fighting each other. I don't think we're going to get all that the sort of, I'm not saying ducking, but where people are scrambling around. Can we get more money here? Can we get more money there? And sometimes it leads to negotiations and things falling through. Under the leadership of His Excellency, these fights are happening. He's making them happening. He's given us the tools to go and do it. And so it's exciting times for world boxing. And if you're in Europe, for the fights to take place, you're going to see them at prime time. Whereas if we get big fights coming in from Vegas, for example, you're sitting up till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning waiting for it to happen. So from Britain, probably the rest of Europe, is great news for them, and obviously the Middle East. So it's exciting. It is exciting times, and I think it's going to lead to it's basically a bit of a revolution. What's happened, as has happened in golf, as is happening, I think it's started in tennis. They've got Formula One there. They just announced a UFC fight for next year. They got other MMA stuff there. They're doing a big equestrian events. And obviously there's a massive investment in soccer, as you call it, or proper football, as we call it. There's a great investment in that. And, they're big players on the world stage now. I mean, big players in sport. And thankfully, there is a massive love there for our sport, boxing.
So you've been in the fight game for quite some time. It's exciting now, but given all the money that is being spent, is there any concern that in 3-4 years this is unsustainable? It's great now, but is there a long-term health here if you're paying so much for these mega? I mean, just look at all the names that came out to Fury and Ngannou. That's not cheap, right?
No, it's not. But you've got to remember, it's first of all, the Riyadh season is what it is. It's a multicultural event which takes place over from October till the beginning of March, and the objective is to put on big events, all types of events, sporting events. They have everything there, lots of different sports, lots of entertainment. So, they have classical music, pop music, rap. You name it, it's all there. And it's about promoting the Riyadh promoting Saudi Arabia. It's their shop window for showing that they're a centre of culture and of excellence. And so that's where they are. And it's a bit like, looking at it in a maybe a different way. When Vegas opened up, everybody would be saying, well, they're building what in the desert? In the middle of the desert, they're building this place, and what they're going to put entertainment there in the middle of the desert. But that's what happened in Vegas, and look at it now. It's one of the, well, if not the world's capital of entertainment, and they put fights on there. Casinos will pay a premium to bring the fight there, and it's the same. It's a similar sort of thing, except it's the General Entertainment Authority who are enabling it to happen. But they're doing it with everything that they put on there. And I think in time, it's a bit like anything. You have to pay your entrance fee to get things started. It's been going for 4 years now. So you pay your entrance fee, and then I think those things have a turn in as much that an act, for example, a pop act or a rock act, it will be a place you have to play. You've got to be there. You've got to get there where the action is. And I think that's what will happen. They're building a massive new city there. It's a kilometre long, the line it's called, going up to Neom. And that is going to be something special. I don't know if you've been to Dubai. You go
yes,
to
I have.
Dubai.
Yeah.
Right. You see, that it's going to be, Dubai on speed. It's going to be a huge place. And it's going to be probably one of the greenest cities in the world, but it's going to be the entertainment capital, and that's what they're turning it into. And this, as I say, is the start of it. And for me, especially at my age, it's brilliant. And Bob, with Bob Arum, top rank Bob, it's brilliant for both of us. And I mean, all we were doing out there was looking at each other in disbelief and scratching our heads, saying, "This is something we've never experienced before." And between us, I think we got 160 years worth of promoting. So it's very forward thinking. There's obviously a massive investment's been made, and of course, at the end of the day, the books have to balance. But I think that will happen once it's firmly established, certainly as far as boxing is concerned, as being a big destination for our sport.
I said on the Monday after Fury and Ngannou that I believe that version of Francis Ngannou beats Deontay Wilder. He beats Anthony Joshua. I had Eddie Hearn on the show that Monday. He said I was crazy. What do you think?
I don't think you are. I think you should. Look, I like to think I know my boxing. I've guided a lot of champions over the years, and a lot of my guys have gone into fights, certainly with my fellow promoters in America, Don King and Bob and so forth, as underdogs, and have won. And we picked the right time, the right matches at the right time, and won the fights. And I looked at him, as I said earlier on, when we started the interview, when he shaped up, I knew that there was a problem. And remember, he's not been in a boxing ring before, and obviously his trainers had done their homework on Tyson. They'd done a lot of homework on it. When he was switch hitting, a couple of times Tyson feints to draw his opponent's lead. He wasn't standing for that, so he was quite well schooled. Although it wasn't Tyson at his best, I must say that it wasn't Tyson at his best. But I think Ngannou will give any of the guys in the top 10, and he's ranked now. I think a couple of the organisations have dropped him in there, and they should do. He's just gone the distance with a world champion. I think he'll give all of them a problem, and there's a couple of them there I think he could beat.
Well, congratulations, Frank, on a fantastic week for you and the company. December 23rd. Looking forward to it. Love the coverage on TNT Sports. They do a fantastic job. I was watching this past weekend as well. Good luck with that one. And, of course, good luck February 17th back in Riyadh for the big one between Alexander Usyk and your guy, Tyson Fury. Real pleasure to have you on the show, Frank. Would love to do it again. Thank you so much. And cheers to you on some amazing business over the past week.
It's been a pleasure and a privilege, and I'm a big fan. And
cheers.
Looking forward to see you again there real soon.
Looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much, Frank. Have a great evening. There he is, Frank Warren. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You can get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.